Hello, and welcome to Starting Points, where one thing leads to another. Last time I shared with you several novels that were written and then later published with artwork included in them, illustrated. I have one more to share with you. It's Cider with Rosie, complete novel, and it's illustrated. Lori Lee's recollections of growing up in the country in England, and I want to share a passage with you. Mother's father had a touch with horses. She had the same with flowers. She could grow them anywhere, at any time, and they seemed to live longer for her. She could grow them with rough, almost slapdash love, but her hands possessed such an understanding of their needs, they seemed to turn to her like another son. She could snatch a dry root from a field or hedgerow, dab it into the garden, give it a shake, and almost immediately it flowered. One felt she could grow roses from a stick or a chair leg. So remarkable was this gift. Our terrace strip of garden was Mother's monument, and she worked it headstrong without plan. She would never control or clear this ground, merely cherished whatever was there, and she was as impartial in her encouragement to all that grew as a spell of sweet, sunny weather. She would force nothing, graft nothing, nor set things in rows. She welcomed self-seeders, let each have its head, and was the enemy of very few weeds. Consequently, our garden was a sprouting jungle and never an inch was wasted. Spiringa shot up, laburnum hung down, white roses smothered the apple tree, red flowering currants, smelling sharply of foxes, spread entirely along one path. Such a chaos of blossom as amazed the bees and bewildered the birds in the air. Potatoes and cabbages were planted at random among foxgloves, pansies, and pinks. Often some species would entirely capture the garden. Forget-me-nots one year, hollyhocks the next, then a sheet of harvest poppies. Whatever it was, one let it grow. While Mother went creeping around the wilderness, pausing to tap some odd bloom on the head, as indulgent, gracious, amiable, and inquisitive as a queen at an orphanage. Our kitchen extended this outdoor profusion, for it was always crammed with bunches. In the green confines of that shadowy place, stockaded by leaves and flowers, the sun filtered dimly through the plant-screened windows. I often felt like an ant in a jungle overwhelmed by its opulent clusters. Almost anything that caught her wandering eye, Mother gathered and brought indoors. In bottles, teapots, dishes, and jugs. In anything old or beautiful, she put roses, beech boughs, parsley, hellebore, garlic, corn stalks, and rhubarb. She also grew plants in whatever would hold them: saucepans, tea caddies, and ash tins. Indeed, she once raised a fine crop of geraniums in a cast iron water softener. We boys had found it thrown away in a wood, but only she knew what use to give it. There are 3 other authors I wanted to share with you who write about gardens, and here they are. This was a project that someone had to contact all these well-known authors and ask them to submit the name of a story that they delighted in. And they took the stories and matched them up with the authors' names and published it. And in this publication, Author's Choice, is a story by Mrs. Ewing. It's called Our Field. Now, I've read some other stories by her that I really like as well. She wrote lots of things for young people, including poetry. So that's in this book, Our Field by Mrs. Ewing. In this book, the most prolific of writers, Joan Aiken, she wrote novels for teenagers. She wrote novels for younger children. She wrote novels for adults. She, well, she's an amazing writer, and she wrote all these stories. They were collected in various books over time, published by Penguin, and my oldest son really enjoyed those stories. One of the reoccurring features was stories about a family called the Armitages, and this is a collection. It's called The Cereal Garden, the complete Armitage family stories, so you don't have to pick them out from various collections. They're all put together in one volume. I gave my copy to my oldest son. He still enjoys reading her books, so this story that deals with a garden is The Cereal Garden, and a nice little play on the word cereal, but a delightful story. And in this is a collection of stories called In and Out and Round About. It's by Eve Garnett. She wrote many a novel too, Family at One End Street, and more Family at One End Street. And this has a neat map, and it shows the garden allotments, and still got the sense of villages, towns, but little centers of population. And the story in this is called The Giant Marrow, and it's 34 pages long, and it's quite a story. Well, thanks for joining me. Until next time, bye for now.